The sun rose gently over the horizon, casting a warm, golden hue across the vibrant forest. Birds chirped cheerfully, their melodies weaving through the air like a sweet lullaby. The forest was alive with activity as animals bustled about, preparing for the annual Easter celebration, a cherished tradition that brought joy and unity to all its inhabitants. Colorful flowers bloomed in abundance, their petals dancing in the soft breeze, while the scent of fresh grass filled the air, invigorating everyone who inhaled it. In this lively setting lived Max, a young rabbit who had recently moved from the bustling city to this serene woodland. With his sleek gray fur and bright, inquisitive eyes, Max was no ordinary rabbit. He was street-smart and resourceful, having navigated the challenges of urban life. However, despite his confidence in the city, he felt out of place in this new environment. The gentle rhythms of forest life were foreign to him, and he often found himself yearning for the familiar sounds of honking cars and busy streets. Max sat on a moss-covered log, observing the other rabbits as they scurried around with excitement. They laughed and chatted as they decorated their burrows with colorful ribbons and painted eggs, symbols of hope and renewal. Yet Max felt like an outsider looking in. He watched them with a mix of admiration and envy, wishing he could join their camaraderie, but unsure how to bridge the gap between his past and this new world. As he pondered his situation, Max overheard a group of rabbits nearby discussing something that piqued his interest. They spoke in hushed tones about the golden egg, a magical artifact that was central to their Easter celebrations. According to legend, this egg held immense power. It could bring joy to the forest or despair if it fell into the wrong paws. The rabbits spoke with reverence about their duty to protect it from Felix, a notorious fox known for his cunning tricks and mischievous schemes. The thought of such danger sent shivers down Max's spine. Curiosity tugged at him. He had always been drawn to tales of adventure and heroism, but this was different. It felt personal. The idea that he could be part of something bigger than himself ignited a spark within him. Perhaps this was an opportunity for him to prove himself, to show that he could be more than just a city rabbit lost in a forest. With newfound determination, Max made his way toward rabbit school, where young rabbits trained to become guardians of the golden egg. As he approached the school, a charming burrow nestled beneath an ancient oak tree. He felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. What would it be like? Would he fit in? Would they accept him? Pushing aside his doubts, Max took a deep breath and stepped inside. The interior was warm and inviting, filled with sunlight streaming through small openings in the earth above. Rabbits of all shapes and sizes gathered around tables covered with colorful maps and training equipment. Laughter echoed off the walls as they shared stories about their families and past adventures. Ms. Willow, an elderly rabbit with soft gray fur and kind eyes, noticed Max's entrance. Her gentle smile radiated warmth as she approached him. "Welcome, I'm Ms. Willow," she said in a soothing voice. "We're glad you're here." Max felt a flutter of hope at her words. Perhaps this place could become his home after all. As Ms. Willow introduced him to the other students, each one unique in their own way, Max began to feel a sense of belonging slowly taking root within him. There was Emmy, a small but fierce rabbit whose determination shone brightly despite her size. Benny, whose clumsiness often led to laughter. And Lila, an older rabbit whose wisdom seemed boundless. In that moment, surrounded by new friends who shared dreams of adventure and bravery, Max realized that this might be exactly what he needed, a chance to embrace change and discover who he truly was away from the city's distractions. Little did he know that soon he would be faced with challenges that would test not only his courage, but also his ability to work together with others in ways he never imagined possible. Max stood at the entrance of Rabbit School, his heart pounding with a mix of excitement and trepidation. The burrow was a cozy structure, its walls lined with soft moss and decorated with colorful drawings made by the students. Sunlight filtered through the openings above, casting playful shadows that danced across the floor. He took a moment to gather his thoughts before stepping inside, determined to make a good impression. As he entered, the atmosphere buzzed with energy. Rabbits of all sizes scurried about, their voices blending into a cheerful hum. Some were practicing their agility on small obstacle courses made of twigs and leaves, while others gathered around tables covered in maps and training materials. The sight filled Max with awe. It was a world so different from the concrete jungle he had known. "Hey there, you must be new." A voice cut through his thoughts. Max turned to see a rabbit with bright eyes and an enthusiastic grin bounding toward him. It was Benny, whose clumsiness was evident as he nearly tripped over his own feet in his eagerness to greet Max. "I'm Benny. Welcome to Rabbit School." "Thanks," Max replied, a smile creeping onto his face despite his nerves. Benny's infectious energy was hard to resist, and Max felt a flicker of warmth in his chest. "Come on, let me show you around," Benny exclaimed, leading Max through the bustling halls. They passed by groups of rabbits practicing their skills, some leaping gracefully over hurdles while others engaged in mock battles with wooden swords. Laughter echoed through the burrow, creating an atmosphere of camaraderie that made Max's heart swell. As they walked, Benny introduced Max to several other students. There was Emmy, who stood slightly apart from the group but had an air of quiet determination about her. She was smaller than most rabbits, but carried herself with confidence that intrigued Max. "Hi, I'm Emmy," she said, her voice steady yet warm. "I'm really looking forward to learning how to protect the golden egg." Max nodded, feeling an instant connection with her resolve. "Me too," he said earnestly. Their conversation was interrupted by Ms. Willow's arrival. The elderly rabbit exuded kindness and wisdom as she surveyed the room with a gentle smile. "Welcome, everyone. Today marks the beginning of your journey as guardians of our beloved golden egg," she announced, her voice soothing yet firm. Max felt a thrill run through him at her words. This was it, the moment he had been waiting for. He listened intently as Ms. Willow explained the importance of teamwork and bravery in their training. She emphasized that each rabbit had unique strengths that would contribute to their collective success. As Ms. Willow spoke, Max couldn't help but feel a twinge of doubt creeping back in. What if he didn't measure up? What if he failed? He glanced around at his classmates. Each one seemed so capable and confident, and wondered if he truly belonged among them. After Ms. Willow concluded her speech, she assigned pairs for their first training exercise, an obstacle course designed to test agility and speed. Benny eagerly grabbed Max's paw, pulling him toward the starting line. "Let's show them what we can do," he exclaimed. As they took their positions, Max felt a surge of adrenaline mixed with anxiety. The whistle blew, and they were off. Benny dashed ahead, but as expected, he stumbled over a twig and tumbled into a patch of daisies, sending petals flying everywhere. Max couldn't help but laugh despite himself. Benny's antics lightened the mood and eased some of his tension. He focused on navigating the course, jumping over logs and weaving between bushes, finding rhythm in the movements that felt surprisingly natural. Emmy was close behind him, her small frame darting through obstacles with remarkable agility. As they both neared the finish line, Max pushed himself harder, driven by an unexpected desire to keep up with her. When they crossed together in a flurry of laughter and exhilaration, something shifted within Max. For the first time since arriving in the forest, he felt a sense of belonging, a realization that perhaps this place could become home after all. After the exercise concluded, Ms. Willow gathered everyone for feedback on their performance. As she praised each student for their efforts, Max felt a sense of pride swell within him. He had faced his fears head-on and emerged stronger. Later that day, as they sat together during lunch, sharing stories and laughter, Max realized that these rabbits were not just classmates. They were becoming friends who understood what it meant to strive for something greater. As they exchanged tales about their families and dreams for the future under the shade of an old oak tree outside Rabbit School, Max knew this was just the beginning of an incredible journey filled with challenges and adventures yet to come. As the days passed, excitement filled the air in the forest, with rabbits bustling about in preparation for the Easter festival. Colorful banners adorned the trees, and laughter echoed through the glades as animals gathered to decorate their burrows and prepare festive treats. Max found himself swept up in the joy of it all, his earlier doubts fading as he embraced his new life among friends. However, beneath the surface of this cheerful atmosphere, whispers of unease began to circulate. During a particularly lively training session at Rabbit School, Max overheard a group of older rabbits discussing troubling news. They spoke in hushed tones about sightings of Felix, the notorious fox known for his cunning and mischief. Max's ears perked up at the mention of the name. He remembered the stories Ms. Willow had shared about the fox's reputation for causing chaos during festivals. Felix has been spotted near the edge of the forest, one rabbit said nervously. He's been watching us, waiting for a chance to strike. Max felt a chill run down his spine. The thought of Felix lurking nearby sent shivers through him, and he couldn't shake off a growing sense of dread. He glanced around at his friends, who were busy preparing decorations and practicing their skills. They seemed blissfully unaware of the danger that loomed just beyond their cheerful bubble. Later that afternoon, while exploring a nearby meadow with Emmy and Benny, Max decided to voice his concerns. "Have you guys heard about Felix?" he asked, trying to keep his tone light, but failing to mask his worry. Emmy paused mid-leap, her expression turning serious. "I've heard some things," she admitted quietly, "but we can't let fear stop us from celebrating. We have to stay strong and protect each other." Benny nodded vigorously, though there was a hint of uncertainty in his eyes. "Yeah, we'll be ready for anything, right?" His enthusiasm was infectious, but Max could see that even Benny felt the weight of impending danger. As they continued their exploration, Max couldn't shake off the feeling that they were being watched. The rustling leaves seemed to whisper secrets, and shadows danced ominously among the trees. He glanced over his shoulder frequently, half expecting to see Felix lurking just out of sight. That evening, as twilight descended upon the forest, Max joined his classmates for a special meeting led by Ms. Willow. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation as she addressed them about their roles during the festival. "Remember," she said firmly, "the golden egg is not just a symbol. It represents our unity and hope. We must be vigilant and work together to ensure its safety." Her wise eyes scanned the room, meeting each student's gaze with unwavering determination. Max felt inspired by her words, but also anxious about what lay ahead. He could sense that Ms. Willow understood the gravity of their situation. Her tone hinted at unspoken fears that hung in the air like a thick fog. After the meeting concluded, Max lingered behind with Emmy. "Do you think we're really prepared?" he asked quietly, voicing his doubts once more. Emmy looked thoughtful for a moment before responding. "We've trained hard," she said earnestly, "and we have each other's backs. That counts for something." Her confidence was reassuring, yet Max couldn't shake off his unease. As they walked back to their burrows under a starlit sky, Max noticed shadows flitting between trees at the forest's edge, a flicker of movement that made his heart race. He quickened his pace but couldn't help glancing back over his shoulder repeatedly. The next morning dawned bright and clear, yet an undercurrent of tension lingered in the air as preparations for the festival continued. Rabbits decorated their homes with colorful flowers and painted eggs while sharing stories about past celebrations filled with laughter and joy. However, amidst this festive spirit, Max noticed that some rabbits exchanged worried glances when they thought no one was looking. The sense of community was palpable, but so was an unspoken fear that hung like a cloud over them all. That afternoon, while gathering supplies for their festival booth with Benny and Emmy, Max overheard two older rabbits discussing a recent encounter with Felix's family near the outskirts of their territory. "I saw them sneaking around last night," one rabbit whispered anxiously. "They're planning something, mark my words." Max's heart sank as he listened intently. The stories he had heard about Felix were becoming more than just tales. They were becoming reality. He felt a surge of responsibility wash over him. If trouble was brewing on their doorstep, he couldn't stand idly by. Determined to take action, Max gathered Emmy and Benny later that day to discuss what they had heard. "We need to stay alert," he urged them seriously. "If Felix is planning something during the festival, we have to be ready." Emmy nodded resolutely, while Benny looked uncertain, but determined nonetheless. "We'll keep watch," Benny said bravely, puffing out his chest as if trying to summon courage from within. As they made plans to stay vigilant during the festivities, Max felt a mixture of fear and resolve bubbling within him. He knew that together they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. But first, they would need to protect what mattered most: their friends and their beloved golden egg. The sun began to set on another day, filled with preparations and anticipation for Easter. A day meant for joy, but deep down inside him stirred an unsettling feeling that this year would be unlike any other. The first day of training at Rabbit School dawned bright and clear, filled with the promise of adventure. Max awoke with a sense of excitement tinged with nervousness. He had heard tales of the rigorous training that awaited him and his classmates, and he was eager to prove himself. After a quick breakfast of fresh clover, he bounded out of his burrow, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As Max arrived at the training grounds, he was greeted by a vibrant scene. Rabbits were scattered across the meadow, practicing various skills that would prepare them for their roles as guardians of the golden egg. The air buzzed with energy as laughter and shouts filled the space. Benny was already there, attempting to leap over a small log, but landing awkwardly in a patch of daisies, sending petals flying everywhere. "Nice landing," Max called out with a chuckle as he approached his friend. Benny grinned sheepishly, brushing off the petals from his fur. "Just warming up," he declared, attempting to regain his composure. His cheerful spirit was infectious, and Max felt his own worries begin to fade away. Ms. Willow gathered everyone around for the first training session. "Today, we'll focus on agility and teamwork," she announced, her voice steady and encouraging. "These skills are essential for protecting the golden egg." Max listened intently as she explained the day's activities. They would be divided into teams to navigate an obstacle course designed to test their speed and coordination. Excitement rippled through the group as they anticipated the challenge ahead. As they lined up at the starting point, Max felt a flutter of nerves in his stomach. He had always been quick on his feet in the city, but this was different. He was surrounded by rabbits who had grown up in this environment, accustomed to its rhythms and challenges. "Just remember to have fun," Emmy said, standing beside him with an encouraging smile. Her confidence inspired him, and he nodded in agreement. When Ms. Willow blew her whistle to signal the start of the race, Max took off like a shot. He darted through the course, weaving between logs and leaping over small mounds of earth. The wind rushed past him as he focused on each obstacle ahead. However, as he approached a particularly tricky jump over a stream, doubt crept in. He hesitated for just a moment. Was he really fast enough? But then he remembered Emmy's words about having fun and pushed himself forward. With a determined leap, he soared over the stream and landed safely on the other side. "Way to go, Max!" Benny cheered from behind him as he stumbled, but managed to keep going despite his clumsiness. As they continued through the course, Max found himself working alongside Emmy more closely than ever before. They began to develop an unspoken rhythm. She would scout ahead for obstacles while he focused on maintaining speed. Their collaboration felt effortless. It was as if they had been training together for years. By the time they reached the finish line, panting and exhilarated, Max felt a rush of accomplishment wash over him. They had completed the course together as a team. The cheers from their classmates echoed in his ears like music. Afterward, Ms. Willow gathered everyone around again for feedback on their performance. She praised each rabbit for their efforts while highlighting areas for improvement. When she turned her gaze toward Max and Emmy, her eyes sparkled with pride. "Max and Emmy demonstrated excellent teamwork today," she said warmly. "It's important to remember that we are stronger together." Max beamed at Emmy, who returned his smile with genuine warmth. They exchanged high fives amidst their classmates' applause, feeling more connected than ever before. As training continued over the following days, Max found himself growing more comfortable in this new environment. He learned how to navigate various challenges, climbing trees for lookout duties and practicing stealth techniques to avoid detection by potential threats like Felix. Each session brought new lessons and laughter. Benny's antics often lightened tense moments when things got tough. One day during stealth training, Benny accidentally knocked over a pile of leaves while trying to sneak past Ms. Willow's watchful eye, causing everyone to burst into laughter. "Stealth isn't my strong suit," Benny exclaimed with a sheepish grin as he tried to hide behind a nearby bush. Despite occasional mishaps like this one, Max began to feel more confident in his abilities and increasingly accepted by his peers. The bonds between them deepened as they shared stories of their families and dreams under the shade of ancient trees during breaks from training. One afternoon, after an especially grueling session focused on agility drills, Max found himself sitting beside Emmy on a grassy knoll overlooking their training grounds. "You know," he said thoughtfully, "I never thought I'd enjoy this so much." Emmy looked at him curiously. "Really? I thought you'd be a natural. I guess I'm just getting used to it," he admitted with a laugh. "But it feels good to be part of something important." Emmy nodded knowingly. "We're all learning together," she replied softly, "and we'll protect each other when it counts." As they sat side by side, watching their friends practice in the distance, their laughter mingling with rustling leaves, Max realized that he was no longer just an outsider. He was becoming part of something bigger than himself, a community bound by shared purpose and friendship. With each passing day at Rabbit School, Max felt more empowered than ever before, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead while standing shoulder to shoulder with friends who believed in him just as much as he believed in them. As the days rolled on, the excitement of the upcoming Easter festival filled the forest with a vibrant energy. Rabbits scurried about, decorating their burrows with colorful flowers and painting eggs in brilliant hues. The air was thick with the sweet scent of blooming wildflowers, and laughter echoed through the trees as animals shared stories of past festivals. Yet, amid this joyful atmosphere, a shadow loomed, unnoticed by most. Max found himself caught up in the preparations, yet an unsettling feeling nagged at him. During training sessions at Rabbit School, he had overheard snippets of conversations that hinted at trouble. One afternoon, while practicing agility drills with Emmy and Benny, he noticed a group of older rabbits huddled together, their expressions serious as they exchanged worried glances. "What do you think they're talking about?" Max asked, glancing over his shoulder. Emmy followed his gaze, her brow furrowing. "I don't know, but it doesn't look good." Later that day, after training had wrapped up, Max approached Ms. Willow during a quiet moment. "Is everything okay? I've heard some rabbits talking about Felix," he ventured cautiously. Ms. Willow's expression shifted slightly, her eyes clouding with concern. "Felix is always a threat during festival time," she admitted quietly. "He's clever and knows how to exploit any weaknesses we might have. We must remain vigilant." Max felt a chill run down his spine at her words. He remembered the stories he had heard about Felix, the cunning fox who thrived on chaos and mischief. The thought of him lurking nearby made Max's heart race. "What should we do?" he asked earnestly. "We need to prepare as best we can," Ms. Willow replied firmly. "Training is essential, but so is unity among us all. If we work together and keep our eyes open, we can protect the golden egg." That evening, as dusk settled over the forest and stars began to twinkle in the sky, Max gathered with Emmy and Benny near their favorite tree, a sturdy oak that offered a perfect view of their surroundings. They sat in a circle on the soft grass, sharing stories and laughter to distract themselves from their worries. "Do you think Felix will really try to steal the golden eggs?" Benny asked between mouthfuls of clover. "I hope not," Emmy replied thoughtfully. "But we can't underestimate him either. He's been known to strike when everyone least expects it." Max nodded in agreement, but felt a knot tighten in his stomach. He wanted to believe that they were safe, that their preparations would be enough to deter any threats. However, every rustle of leaves seemed amplified in the stillness of the night, reminding him that danger lurked just beyond their cheerful facade. As they chatted under the stars, Max noticed shadows moving at the edge of the forest, a flicker here and there that sent his heart racing. He tried to shake off the feeling, but couldn't help glancing back toward where he thought he saw movement. "Did you see that?" he whispered suddenly. Emmy turned her head sharply toward the trees but saw nothing out of the ordinary. "It's probably just a deer or something," she suggested lightly, though her voice held an edge of uncertainty. But deep down, Max couldn't shake off his unease. The days leading up to the festival passed quickly, filled with laughter and joy on the surface while tension simmered beneath it all. The rabbits continued their preparations, painting eggs, baking treats, and planning games. But Max felt increasingly restless. One afternoon, while gathering supplies for their festival booth with Emmy and Benny, they overheard two older rabbits discussing something alarming. "I saw Felix lurking near our territory last night," one rabbit said anxiously. "He was watching us from behind some bushes." Max's heart sank at those words. It confirmed his worst fears. "We have to do something," he urged his friends after they moved away from earshot. Emmy nodded resolutely but looked concerned. "What can we do? We're just students." "We can keep watch during the festival," Max suggested earnestly. "If we stay alert and work together, we might be able to warn everyone if something happens." Benny's eyes widened with determination as he nodded vigorously. "I'm in. We'll be like secret guardians." As they made plans to stay vigilant during the festivities, Max felt both empowered and anxious about what lay ahead. He knew that together they could face whatever challenges awaited them. But first and foremost was protecting their friends and their beloved golden egg from any potential threats. The sun began to set on another day, filled with preparation for Easter, a day meant for joy. But deep inside Max lingered an unsettling feeling that this year would be unlike any other they had experienced before. On the eve of the festival, as twilight enveloped the forest in hues of purple and gold, Max gathered with his classmates around a large bonfire lit in celebration of their hard work and dedication. The warmth of the flames flickered against their fur as they shared stories about past festivals filled with laughter and joy. Yet even amidst this celebration, Max couldn't shake off his apprehension. He scanned the treeline frequently for any sign of movement or danger lurking just beyond their festivities. As laughter rang out around him, and friends shared tales of bravery and camaraderie under a starlit sky, Max realized that while they were united in spirit during this joyous occasion, an invisible threat loomed nearby, waiting for its moment to strike. The sun rose on the day of the Easter festival, casting a warm, golden light across the forest. Max awoke with a flutter of excitement in his chest, his heart racing at the thought of the celebrations that awaited him. Today was not just any day. It was a day filled with joy, laughter, and cherished traditions that brought their community together. The air was crisp and fresh, filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers and freshly baked treats. As Max hopped out of his burrow, he marveled at how beautifully the forest had been transformed. Colorful banners decorated the trees, swaying gently in the morning breeze. Rabbits scurried about, their voices mingling in a cheerful chorus as they put the finishing touches on their decorations. The vibrant colors and joyful atmosphere made Max feel alive with anticipation. He quickly joined Emmy and Benny at their designated booth, where they were responsible for organizing games for the younger rabbits. Emmy was already setting up a ring toss made from colorful painted eggs, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "Max, help me with this," she called out, holding up a stack of brightly colored eggs. "On it," Max replied, feeling a surge of energy as he rushed over to assist her. Together, they arranged the eggs in neat rows while Benny bounced around excitedly, trying to convince passing rabbits to join in on the fun. As they worked side by side, Max couldn't help but feel grateful for his friends. The bond they had formed over the past few weeks had grown stronger, and he felt a sense of belonging that he had longed for since arriving in the forest. They shared laughter and stories as they prepared for the festivities, each moment reinforcing their connection. Once their booth was ready, they took a moment to step back and admire their handiwork. The ring toss looked inviting, and colorful streamers danced in the wind above them. "This is going to be great," Benny exclaimed, his eyes wide with excitement. However, as Max glanced around at the bustling scene, a flicker of unease crept into his mind. Despite the festive atmosphere, he couldn't shake off his earlier worries about Felix. He scanned the treeline nervously but saw nothing out of the ordinary, just rabbits celebrating and enjoying themselves. The festival officially began with Ms. Willow's opening speech. She stood atop a small mound surrounded by eager rabbits, her voice ringing clear as she welcomed everyone to this year's Easter celebration. "Today is a day to celebrate our unity and hope," she proclaimed, her eyes shining with warmth. Let us honor our traditions and protect what we hold dear. The golden egg. Cheers erupted from the crowd as Max felt his heart swell with pride. The golden egg was not just an object. It represented everything they stood for as a community: togetherness, resilience, and joy. As festivities kicked off, various games and activities unfolded across the meadow. Races, egg hunts, and storytelling sessions filled every corner with laughter and cheer. Max joined in on everything he could. He participated in races alongside Benny and cheered for Emmy as she showcased her agility in an obstacle course designed for younger rabbits. For a while, all thoughts of danger faded away as he immersed himself in the joy surrounding him. He felt free, running through fields of wildflowers and playing games under the warm sun reminded him of carefree days spent exploring as a young rabbit. But as midday approached and excitement reached its peak, Max's instincts kicked in again. He noticed that some older rabbits were whispering among themselves, casting worried glances toward the edge of the forest where shadows danced ominously beneath thick branches. "Do you think we should keep watch?" Max asked Emmy quietly during one of their breaks between games. Emmy nodded thoughtfully, but looked conflicted. "I don't want to ruin everyone's fun," she said softly. "But we can't ignore what Ms. Willow said." Just then, Benny bounded over with a grin plastered across his face. "You guys, you won't believe what I just saw. There's an egg hunt happening over there." He pointed excitedly toward a group of younger rabbits gathering around an area filled with hidden eggs. Max forced himself to smile despite his growing anxiety. "That sounds fun. Let's check it out." As they made their way toward the egg hunt area, Max couldn't shake off that nagging feeling in his gut, the sense that something was off. The laughter around him felt distant as he kept glancing back toward the tree where Felix could potentially strike. Suddenly, without warning, a loud rustling echoed from behind them, a sound that cut through the joyous atmosphere like a knife. Max's heart dropped as he turned to see several figures darting through the underbrush at an alarming speed. "Felix!" someone shouted from across the meadow. Panic erupted among the rabbits as they realized that their fears had come true. The cunning fox had chosen this moment to disrupt their celebration. Max felt adrenaline surge through him as chaos ensued. Rabbits scattered in all directions while others huddled together in fear. "Stay close!" Emmy shouted above the commotion as she grabbed Benny's paw. Max's instincts kicked in. He knew they had to protect each other and defend what mattered most: the golden egg. With determination surging through him, he rallied his friends together amidst the chaos unfolding around them. "Let's stick together," he urged them firmly as they prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The day that had begun with laughter and joy was now tinged with uncertainty. A test of courage awaited them all as they braced themselves for what was to come. The chaos erupted around them as Felix and his family charged into the meadow, their eyes gleaming with mischief. Max felt his heart race as he took a deep breath, rallying his friends. "We need to protect the golden egg," he shouted, his voice cutting through the panic. Emmy and Benny nodded, determination etched on their faces. Together, they quickly devised a plan. "We'll create a barrier around the golden egg," Emmy suggested, her mind racing with ideas. "If we can keep it safe, we can buy time for everyone to regroup." With a sense of urgency, they moved toward the pedestal where the golden egg rested, a magnificent orb shimmering with hues of gold and silver. As they approached, Max could see other rabbits gathering nearby, their eyes wide with fear, but also filled with resolve. "Everyone," Max called out, his voice steady despite the turmoil. "We need to work together. If we stand united, we can protect our home." The rabbits began to rally around him, forming a protective circle around the golden egg. Max felt a surge of pride as he looked at his friends. Emmy's fierce determination, Benny's unwavering spirit, and the support of their classmates. They were no longer just individuals. They were a united front. Felix and his family approached with calculated stealth, their eyes darting between the rabbits guarding the egg. "You think you can stop us?" Felix taunted, his voice dripping with arrogance. "This festival will be ours." But Max stood tall, his heart pounding fiercely in his chest. "You underestimate us," he declared boldly. We won't let you take what is ours." As Felix lunged forward, Max instinctively stepped in front of the golden egg, feeling a rush of adrenaline. The other rabbits followed suit, forming an unbreakable wall of fur and determination. In that moment, something extraordinary happened. Their collective courage radiated like a beacon of light. Seeing their unity and resolve, Felix hesitated for just a moment. It was enough for Max to seize the opportunity. "Now," he shouted. With a coordinated effort, the rabbits executed their plan. Emmy darted left, while Benny created distractions by hopping in circles and making loud noises to confuse the foxes. Max led the charge forward, using his agility to dodge Felix's attempts to break through their defenses. The atmosphere shifted as laughter replaced fear. Their teamwork was working. The rabbits rallied together, pushing back against Felix and his family with newfound strength. The bond they had forged during training now manifested in this pivotal moment. Realizing they were outmatched by the sheer determination of the rabbits, Felix snarled in frustration before retreating into the shadows of the forest with his family. The threat had been vanquished. They had protected not only the golden egg, but also their cherished traditions and friendships. Cheers erupted among the rabbits as they celebrated their victory. Max felt an overwhelming sense of relief wash over him as he turned to Emmy and Benny. "We did it!" he exclaimed, joy bubbling within him. The festival resumed with renewed vigor. Laughter echoed through the trees as everyone came together to celebrate not just Easter, but their triumph over adversity. The golden egg was placed back on its pedestal, shining brightly as a symbol of hope and unity. As night fell and stars twinkled overhead, Max stood beside Emmy and Benny at the edge of the meadow. They watched as their friends danced around a bonfire, sharing stories and laughter that filled the air with warmth. "I never thought I could feel so brave," Max admitted softly. Emmy smiled at him, her eyes sparkling with pride. "You were brave today because you believed in all of us." Benny chimed in enthusiastically, "And we believed in you. We're a team." In that moment, surrounded by friends who had become family, Max realized that he had found his place in this world. A community where courage thrived and friendships blossomed amidst challenges. As they joined their friends under the starlit sky, dancing and celebrating, the spirit of Easter enveloped them all like a warm embrace. They knew that together they could face any challenge that lay ahead. United by love and friendship, nothing could dim their light. And so, amid laughter and joy in the heart of the forest, Max understood that this was just the beginning of many adventures yet to come. A journey filled with hope, resilience, and an unbreakable bond that would last forever. I know you guys have already subscribed till now, but if you have not, do like, share, and subscribe.